Okay, I am going to show you the first part I'm going to show you is AoE healing in Mythic Plus, and sort of the first initial steps when you go into mobs, when you go into a mob pack. So before you go into a mob pack, you're going to want to make sure none of your renewing mists are off cooldown. So you want to keep them always on cooldown. Always try and spread your renewing mist on your party. And then in an AoE fight in a Mythic Plus dungeon, you basically just want to Jadefire Stomp and then go in with your Spinning Crane Kick. And then Renewing Mist, Jadefire, Spinning Crane. And especially in AoE mobs, if my Jadefire Stomp procs, I will hit it. I won't save the proc, I'll generally hit it. While always trying to spread Renewing Mists. And that's pretty much your AoE healing in Mythic Plus when you have 4 or more target enemy mobs. Then you can pretty much do that, keep your party healthy, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I will say one more thing. Before we pull the pack, I usually do my Zen Pulse on my tank, so that'll just cause my Zen Pulse, and I do have it macroed with my Life Cocoon, which I know some monks might say is a no-no to always put on the tank, but I do, so that's just how I do it. And that's pretty much AoE healing. Nothing to it. Now, when you need to heal, when you only have like fewer than 4 targets is when you start to have to push a lot more buttons, and we will go over that next. Alright, so now we're going to go over how to heal when there's only 1, 2, or 3 mobs, maybe 4. You can use this with 4 mobs as well. It might be actually more beneficial to use this with 4 mobs and save your AoE healing for 5 or more. But for 4 or less, you want to open up with your Jadefire, spread your Renewing Mist. You want to Zen Pulse. Open up with Rising Sun Kick. That will increase your Renewing Mist timers. So always open up with that, and it'll give somebody in your party a Renewing Mist. And then you want to do 2 Tiger Palms and then a Blackout. Always keeping your Renewing Mists up. Rising Sun, 2 Tiger Palms, Blackout. Now you might be like, what does all this do? What is all this doing? And then I have a weak aura that tells me when to drink my Mana Tea, so drink your Mana Tea a little bit. Now you might be like, what is all this doing? What is this doing? Okay. So if you look over here, this weak aura here, this 987, that's your Ancient Teachings weak aura, right? So Ancient Teachings, you want to pretty much want to try and have that up 100% of the time in a Mythic Plus. What that does is converts some of your damage into healing and puts it on your party members equally. It's a smart heal. So you want to have your Ancient Teachings buff up all the time as much as possible in a Mythic Plus. There are 2 ways to keep that up. One is from your Jadefire Stomp, which you saw. Now, like I'm fixing to run out right here and my Jadefire Stomp is on cooldown, you can apply it with your Essence font. So that will also do your Ancient Teachings buff. Now, that is going to be the majority of your healing in a Mythic Plus dungeon. If that is not the majority of your healing in a Mythic Plus dungeon, go back to the drawing board. Okay? You always want to be kicking, Rising Sun kick, 2 Tiger Palms, Blackout kick. Feline Stomp, spread your Renewing Mist, Rising Sun, 2 Tiger Palm, Blackout kick. Okay. And the reason why, you can see every Tiger Palm I do creates 2 stacks of this buff. And that buff allows your Blackout kick to kick more targets when you use it. That buff is this talent right here. Teaching of the Ancient Monastery. So that is going to be a large part of your AoE damage and your healing through your AoE damage on 4 or less targets. And that's pretty much it. It's fun. It kind of reminds me of a Discipline Priest, but like it's melee. It's a melee Discipline Priest. And next, we're going to go over some of the cooldowns and the rest of the buttons on my bars. Yeah. So hopefully that helps a little bit with monk healing in a Mythic Plus. Remember, your main thing is keeping your Renewing Mist out. Zen Pulse is important. Keeping your Ancient Teachings up. Your Ancient Teachings is so important to keep up. You gotta keep that up. And yeah, so we're gonna go on to the next little bit. We're gonna go over Chi-Ji, the Chi-Ji cooldown in Mythic Plus, and because I'm gonna make that its own video, it's gonna be really quick because there's a lot of things that happen when you push the Chi-Ji button. So I'm just gonna go over it real quick, and hopefully you pick up on 1 or 2 things, and if you need to rewatch the video over and over again, I understand that. So, alright, so let's say you know your party's fixing to take a lot of damage. Okay, there are so many situations where you can push Chi-Ji and it be really beneficial. For instance, in Galakran's Fall, on an entangling week, like this week, you will have, on the Galakran fight, when he does his dragon and he spits his tornadoes out, you will inevitably have, wink wink, an entangling during that phase, okay? So, Chi-Ji is so cool. Because if you save your Chi-Ji for that phase, you could probably, depending on the key level and how long the fight's going to last, you could probably push it during the first phase too, at the beginning sometime. But if you save it for that second phase when those tornadoes come out and your party has entangling, let me tell you something. Chi-Ji is the coolest thing ever. Chi-Ji will take off your party's entangling, so your party doesn't have to deal with entangling. And it'll give your party a bubble. Chi-Ji gives your party a bubble for that tornado phase. It's just like, it's so versatile. And there are so many things, more things to Chi-Ji I'm going to talk about. So let's just say your party is taking a ton of damage, right? Let's say an AoE fight. We'll go to an AoE fight first. Let's say, you know, your Renewing Mists are out, you've already done your Zen Pulse here, your Feline Stomp is out, you're doing your Spinning Crane Kick, but your party is still taking a ton of damage. What do you do? Well, the first thing you do is you want to make sure your Essence Font dot is on everybody in the party. Now, there are 2 ways. This is all surrounding Chi-Ji. Just remember that. There's a lot of setup here. It happens really quickly, and it's kind of like your ramp time is such a short ramp time, but it is so satisfying when you pull it off. Okay. So we're just going to go into it. No cooldowns except for Chi-Ji left. You got to do something, right? So you want to make sure your essence font dot is on everybody in your party. There are 2 ways to do that. One is just push your essence font. Make sure that, well, it's obviously not going on to me because there are so many healing mobs here. So that's not a good example. But your essence font, if you push it, the dot will go on everybody in the party in a Mythic Plus. Another way to get your essence font on some of your party members, mostly in melee, if you have ranged party members, they might not get hit with your Jadefire Stomp, so they will not get your essence font dot on them. But your melee people usually will, if they're in melee range. So that's 2 ways to get your essence font dot on your party. Now, you're still spinning Crane Kick. Okay, your essence font dot has gone out through Jadefire Stomp or your essence font cast, and then you push Chi-Ji. Okay, you want to have your essence font up as long as you can during Chi-Ji. Why is this? Because now there's a new weak aura here that is tracking how many stacks of kicking you do, either your spinning Crane Kick or your blackout kick or your rising sun kick, how many kickings you do, and once you get to 3, your enveloping mist is free and you can cast that on anybody in the party. So is an excellent cooldown. Just a huge 1-minute cooldown that is so powerful. Okay, and I'm gonna go behind the reason for these things, why all these things are so important. So when you essence font your party and you bring out your Chi-Ji, every kick that you do, including your spinning Crane Kick, so every kick that you do, Gusts of Mist, which is your mastery, Gusts of Mist will heal your party. So Hi, this is editing Lucky Boy chiming in here. As I was editing this, I noticed a couple things about this that weren't quite wrong, but they do need a clearer understanding of what's going on here. So whenever you summon your Chi-Ji and kick, your Gusts of Mist will go on your party members because you're kicking. Now, if you have Essence Font on your party members, that Gusts of Mist that's going on your party will actually double. So that's the importance of having Essence Font on your party members, is because it will double that Gusts of Mist whenever you're kicking. Your healing is like through the roof when you are Chi-Jiing, okay? Because you are Feline Stomping, you're doing your Feline teachings, which is hitting multiple people. Your Essence Font Gust of Mist Chi-Ji interaction is doing a ton of healing if you're kicking as well. And then also your free enveloping mist every 3 kicks you do. And usually, if you are really good at it, you can get 3 free enveloping mists, which is a total of 9 kicks. So if you can kick 9 times, you can get 3 enveloping mists out free on the party, which is a ton of healing in itself. All while extending those enveloping mists with your Rising Sun kick. Because remember, your Rising Sun kick will extend the HOTS on the party, right? So that is Chi-Ji. It's really confusing. There's a lot to Chi-Ji. It's really just important on Chi-Ji. You try and make sure everybody in your party has the Essence Font dot. Chi-Ji on AoE. After you do all that, you can just spinning Crane Kick and every 3 stacks of that Chi buff, you can just free Enveloping Mist somebody. Rising Sun Kick to increase the duration of that Enveloping Mist, and you're golden. You should have no problem with throughput doing that on AoE mobs. I hope that helps a little bit. It's a little confusing. If you have any questions about this part in particular, let me know. Use Chi on not AoE mobs, so on like maybe like 4 targets or 3 targets and below. I just want to go over how to use Chi in a situation like that. So, in a situation where there are 3 or less targets, 4 or less targets, you still want to try and have your essence font up on your whole party before you summon Chi. And instead of spinning Crane Kick, you're going to be doing your Rising Sun Kick, followed by 1 of your Tiger Palm, and then a Blackout Kick. And this is where I always sort of go wrong, is I'm because it's muscle memory to do 2 Tiger Palm kicks, usually because of the Ancient Teachings buff and how it interacts with Blackout Kick. It's better usually to do 2 Tiger Palms, but during Chi, you want to only do 1 Tiger Palm, because when you Blackout Kick, that will put your Chi Crane stacks up to 3. And then you can Enveloping Mist somebody in your party. And really that's the only difference. You're not using Spinning Crane Kick, you're using your regular kicks on fewer mobs. For this section of the video, I just want to go over some cooldowns, how I use them, what they're for, and sort of my UI setup too. So on this side, basically you can see on the right side of my Voodoo frames, you can see that all my healing cooldowns and most of my defensives are on the right side here. Zen Pulse followed by Chi. Shayloon's Gift is about a 40-second, you'll get 10 stacks about every 40 seconds here in combat, and it is a huge cooldown. It will top your party off. If people are like 30% health, it will just top everybody off. It is just as valuable as Chi, and you should really be using it, use it if you need it, don't save it. Use it if you need it. Revival is a really nice cooldown as well. It is 3 minutes, but it is a mass dispel as well as a pretty major heal, and it's instant. So in those respects, I sort of like it better than mass dispel on a priest, because it's instant, it's a mass dispel, you don't have to cast it, it heals as well as does all the other things, and the only downside is it's just an extra minute cooldown. It's great on weeks like Bursting, like this week. We have Bursting, Everbloom, pull a bunch of packs, everything dies at once in a pug because nobody single targets anything, and everybody's got like 11 stacks of Bursting. Revival, remove all those stacks. It's amazing what it can do. Diffuse Magic is great for if there's a magic debuff on you. Push the button, it'll go back off of you, and it'll actually, if it's a mob that it can be reflected on, it'll reflect it back on to that mob. So it's great. It's a great cooldown. Fortifying Brew, 4-minute cooldown. Use it if you need it. It's a 4-minute cooldown. It's too long of a cooldown. Dampen Harm, great cooldown. Use it if you need it. Great cooldown. These 3 down here, we've already talked about Mana Tea. I have a week over for Mana Tea to tell me when to drink it at 18 stacks. And then Thunder Focus Tea right here. I either use my Thunder Focus Tea, and it'll empower one of these spells with my. I either use it with my Enveloping Mist or my Expel Harm, and I use it mostly probably on Enveloping Mist because I have it macroed with Enveloping Mist. So every time I push it in my Voodoo, my Enveloping Mist will sometimes be instant. But if it's not on cooldown and I need to use Expel Harm because I have taken a ton of damage, I will drink my Thunder Focus Tea and then use it with my Expel Harm, because on top of my Expel Harm healing me for a boatload of healing, it will also put a bubble on me, so a Chi Cocoon bubble. So, it just empowers your Expel Harm to be even, more powerful. Those are some pretty big spells to look out for. These little spells over here are mostly my interrupts, and then of course I have Chi Burst here. It's not really part of the rotation, but it's good to use if there's a lot of mobs, you have a little bit of downtime, use your Chi Burst. Crackling Jade Lightning, a good time to use this. I'm over here now on the left side of my screen. Crackling Jade Lightning, a great time to use that is if you're being fixated, and Raison, a Mythic Plus, Atal Dazar, run away, Crackling Jade Lightning. Tiger's Lust will get you out of roots, so just remember that. It's great for Galakron Boss and Galakron's Fall. It's great for, I think his name is Gnarlroot in Darkheart Thicket. Great for those two things. I should probably use my Touch of Death more than I do, so don't judge me on that. And then I have just one more defensive down there in case I need it in my healing potion. So yeah, those are all really the cooldowns and what you should be using on a monk, how to use them. Chi-Ji is a really important aspect of monk, as well as probably your ancient teachings too. Those are probably the two major things that I would focus on.